apologies to anyone who's watching the YouTube of this episode. But this is just the angle that you're getting. It's Sunday night and we need an episode. And I've been out on the beers all day. But like we're G to do an episode. That's just why I'm doing it in bed with my laptop on my tummy. It is what it is. But there's a lot to talk about. And I've got a surprise for you, Harvey. I mean, it's not a surprise for you, but it's a surprise topic to unpack nonetheless.
A surprise that is involving me now.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love for you to get involved. I'm actually hoping that a lot of people from Wollongong get involved. I'm starting Wollongong's. I don't know if it's the first, because I think there may have been some before. Well, yeah, there's sort of been unofficial weightlifting clubs, but I'm starting a fucking weightlifting club. I'm getting back into. Have I mentioned on the podcast I've been thinking about getting back into face-to-face training? Like I know I've thrown it out there as like something I want to get back into at some point, but I've just been hanging out with the boys and chatting about face-to-face coaching, and just like a lot of my mates that I train with at the moment, they're powerlifters and coach powerlifting teams and stuff like that. And you know what it was? It was a couple of things. So like sort of they've been G'ing me up about getting back into face-to-face coaching. Warehouse, this amazing gym I train at in Wollongong. Actually, I can talk about this. The rent for personal trainers is a fucking steal. I'm not going to say exactly what it is because maybe that's like the private business, but I know they won't mind me saying that for the facility, the rent there is a fucking steal. Like to the point where like I think the guy who runs the joint is just like every other gym is squeezing personal trainers too hard because a lot of other gyms, especially private facilities, they really struggle to maintain a decent roster of trainers. And like you could say that, you could be like, oh, decent trainers can afford to pay a lot of rent, but not all good trainers have good social skills or good business skills. But yeah, so the rent's just so cheap at this joint. It's like if you're cranking 1 or 2 sessions a week, fucking rent's covered. But anyway, so and like how I was thinking about getting back into it, I was just going to do like 2 free classes a week at the gym, like a free weightlifting class, come learn the Olympic lifts, and then a free like surfing S&C class. And then I was kind of like, and then this other separate train of thought I had, this thought process started like a couple of months ago when I was just like, fuck, Dylan, thick ass white guy on Instagram, like anyone who follows me on Instagram, one of my clients, especially like he's been with me since fucking last time my one-to-one books were open. So I've been training him for like the last 2 years and his total's been building. And it just sort of hit me the other day that he's a real good shot at being a national champion, but I can't coach him in comp because I don't have my AWF level 1. So fucking weightlifting is just like that. Like you need to do some bullshit day course so you can coach your fucking athletes at a contest. No wonder no one wants to participate in the sport. Anyway, but I'm like, that's a bit crap. Like I'm sort of holding back Dylan there. Well, like it doesn't mean that because he has someone who can coach him on comp day. Like I'm sure his old coach would love to do that, or anyone would love to comp day coach Dylan because he's a high level Australian Olympic weightlifting athlete. But like, I don't want to have to sit in the cuck chair. Oh, because this is the other thing. So Dylan, like he's not a professional weightlifter. He has a job. He's just started a family in the last year. He has a partner, but everything who he needs to consider. And he lives in Perth and the national championships are pretty much always on the East Coast. So it's expensive. He's got to leave work and his family for a couple of days. Or if he wants to like bring them, like, you know what I mean? It's super expensive. But I'm like, so I want to, anyway, I just told him, I was like, look, as long as you can get the time off work, like I'll pay for the flights and accommodation because selfishly, I want to say I coached a national champion. Like fuck Dylan's national title. Like this is, you know, he can go win a national title with any coach. I want to get a national title with him now. And so, yeah, just that sort of combination of things. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should get a few more weightlifting athletes and just see what kind of talent's around the gong. And I don't even give a shit. I don't need weightlifting talent. Like I just get the joy out of sort of, you know, sharing the gift of weightlifting with other people. But, you know, that could be handy as well. There's a lot of footy talent in Wollongong that you can convert into absolute weightlifting machines. And because, so this is the thing as well. It sort of hit me in the shower fucking yesterday when I decided I was going to do this. I remember in, what year was it? I remember in like 2013 trying to work out snatches and clean and jerks, and just like, there wasn't even much information on it available on the internet at the time, but just being like, fuck, I wish there was a good weightlifting coach in the Gong. And just so much time has passed, and there's still just like, there are people you can go to in the Gong to like learn weightlifting from. Like there's a bunch of CrossFit boxes and things like that, and a bunch of decent S&C coaches. But it's like, no, I want to have like a fucking start a proper Olympic weightlifting club at Warehouse. And yeah, and because the other reason I realized like probably why it hasn't happened is there's not much money in weightlifting, but like I don't need to make money from it because it's like I already make money off other stuff, like fucking selling programs online and online coaching and shit like that. So I could fully have it like a face-to-face business or aspect of my business that's like just a pure passion project. And like when that occurred to me, I just felt like so fucking grateful because I was like, that's so mad. Like I remember like when I got into personal training, I had this idea of what like coaching face-to-face could be like. And it was just so ruined by getting absolutely fisted by bills. It's just, yeah. Whereas now I'm in this position where I can just go and I can just coach people and just fucking, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to do the weightlifting club for free forever, but definitely like for the first month or like 6 weeks or whatever. But yeah, just not needing to make money off it. I'm like, I've got back to like, it's pure again. I purified it. I distilled like what I need from coaching just through social media and the whole like online side of business. And yeah, just was so stoked with that realization and how excited I am for this upcoming project. So yeah, anyway, if you're in the Gong, any Gong listeners, you want to snatch and clean and jerk, and like you don't have to compete, we can just have some fun lifting. But obviously that's my goal. Selfishly, I want to get some lifters into comps and yeah, see if fucking we can get Dylan a national title and fucking, Team GPP, the weightlifting team.
Hell yeah. Hell fucking yeah.
So that's sort of the announcement. I'm fucking, sorry, a bit more to rant about this because like, I don't know, like I was kind of trying to change weightlifting coaching. Oh, how hard do I want to toot my own horn here? Let's just go for it. I feel like I've had a considerable impact on the way weightlifters are coached in some corners of the world, like definitely a decent amount in Australia, in the UK and America as well, where most of my following is. And like, so what it is, this whole idea of like, I get a lot of people talk about like using S&C as a lens for training weightlifters now. Like I fucking started that, getting weightlifters just training more variously, doing plyos, or just training the athletic qualities and stuff like that, not just like training so fucking specifically. Also sort of pioneered fucking applying RPE and a much more auto-regulated approach to the training of Olympic weightlifters, and like definitely like MED on the strength side. And just, yeah, not absolutely motherfucking high level weightlifters. Like there's a real culture of like 2-a-day sessions and just fucking ruthless USSR style periodization. You know what it was basically? So I'm basically one of the only cunts in weightlifting who was paying attention to Mike Tuchscherer. Like, sorry, from a programming side, other than the GPP stuff, like it's crazy. Like you go back fucking, when I was getting into Olympic weightlifting and figuring that shit out, powerlifters put Olympic weightlifting on such a pedestal because that's where a lot of their programming concepts came from. But then Mike Tuchscherer just fucking changed the game and just progressed the thoughts on programming and periodization for powerlifting like so fucking much. It came up with so many useful tools, and weightlifters are just still got their heads in the fucking sand, still think that sports science and thoughts on programming and periodization haven't fucking changed since the USSR was a thing, So I feel like I helped a lot of people sort of get onto that. But like, it was sort of weird because like, I mean, I've never been shy about criticizing the way people train, and especially like criticizing the way people train where I don't have much skin in the game. And this is something where like, I kind of like moved away from it, but I've always had a little bit of skin in the game, but I've just sort of been like 1 foot in, 1 foot out with it. I mean, basically just shitting on the way that weightlifters train entirely and then just training like 3 to 4 weightlifters online and doing my own weightlifting. But like, you know what I mean? Oh, sorry. Back before I went online initially. I did train more weightlifters face to face, but yeah, I've never had a team and taken them to comps or anything like that. So I'm like, I want to get back into that, and I want to get more vocal about, just because like I feel like I left it in the hands of some other people, which is sweet. But I'm like, I kind of like want to be doing it publicly and like kind of get my flowers a little bit more. But I'm like, I got to put in the work. I got to fucking train some weightlifters and get them to comps and then collect my flowers. I've already revolutionized the training for the sport. I just need to fucking do it a little bit more.
Yeah, totally. And like, I don't think there's anything like.
Also, that whole fucking speech was a little bit tongue in cheek. Like, I'm kind of taking the piss, but I did seriously like. I think there are a good chunk of weightlifters doing things a bit differently now because of shit I posted on Instagram. I do believe that. Well, and shout out also one more little thing. A shout out to Dylan. Like, I love Dylan so much because Dylan is by far the strongest cunt who's ever put his trust in me. And obviously that's like great social proof for these ideas. So it's like, I'm just so grateful, especially for Dylan and other lifters I've coached like Ari and, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, well, that too. I'd imagine you've existed in a few different like roles as far as the industry goes, but I'd imagine in your current role or the role you've kind of ended up existing in over the last few years, like you probably sit in this kind of like weird bubble where you don't really get a lot of the kind of, I don't know, kind of like fulfillment, for words of a use of a better expression, that you kind of get from like beginning, middle, end of training someone, you know. And like I think for the same reason loads of people end up in teaching.
Well, I've been working, yeah, exactly. Been working primarily in education for like the last 2 or 3 years. And again, always doing like a little bit of coaching, but honestly, I mean, with how my workload feels now, especially because our education content is more evergreen, now my actual workload is already shifted much more to coaching. But even in terms of like revenue and like the whole business, like that's just going to grow so much over the next year. I'm fucking so G'd.
100%. But I think that's a real thing. And like, I think that is why, I think that's why a lot of people that are good at teaching and good at coaching do it, because they enjoy that. The fulfillment of it, you know, they enjoy taking people at beginning, middle, end. And you've probably kind of been doing like the beginning and maybe arguably the end of it for a lot of people, in that, like, you know, you've kind of, like you said, you've been like kind of putting out content as to how you should train things. And then you've kind of been like seeing the results of people. Started
a lot of people on their weightlifting journey back in the day as well. Also had some red hot talent just dropped into my lap. Shout out to Instagram Clout.
And, you know, even I think like things like doing the podcast and a lot of the educational content you put out is kind of about like the finer points of coaching stuff. You know, it is kind of about like, you know, like you're teaching people how to upskill, or sorry, you're upskilling people and that kind of thing. But you kind of miss out on that middle bit where like the hands-on, like, you know, like actually feeling the feeling of someone in front of you making progress. And
because that's the thing, as much as it was sick, like, fuck, I wish I like, I remember like I was in the gym just training. Actually, sorry, I was yapping to a few of my mates in the gym when Dylan hit his 150 kilo snatch, and it was just such a G. I was so stoked. He worked towards that for so long, but then I also forget, like, dude, being there for it would have been a whole nother level, you know. And so just having more opportunities like that, but then also from an online thing, like I would also like to, because one of the good things about online coaching is, without online coaching, I wouldn't get to coach Dylan. And it also opens up opportunities to coach more elite lifters, because there's more elite lifters scattered around the world than within an hour drive of Wollongong. But just, you know, doing it in real life and is going to lead to doing more of it online as well. So yeah, excited to see how that goes.
Yeah, totally. And that's the whole thing. Like, I don't know. I think with a lot of this stuff, I think it, and again, everyone's different, but I think with a lot of this stuff, I find, for me anyway, that I don't like having all my eggs in one basket, as far as like, I would never want to be like just teaching. You know what I mean? Like, I think that, because I taught for like quite a lot of time, and I think I kind of got burnt out from it because it's just like, because I didn't have that much else going on. I think if it's like your main thing, whereas like, I think the zone you're in now where you're like, I've got this, I've got that, I can open up my books a little bit, I can open my face-to-face books a little bit, like that's probably a really nice spot to be in, because you can keep yourself like really fresh on it and really G'd on it. And at the point where it starts to get like, you kind of want to dial it back, you kind of can. And I think that will keep you in that nice zone of being like, you know what it's like when you've got a sick teacher, that can be the difference between you absolutely fucking hating something and loving it,
Yeah.
And
that's I think I can get people pretty stoked on weightlifting. Like the best thing about the GPP system is not only does it produce mad results, it's fun as hell. Like it's a less pain. The biggest contribution of my system, I mean, it does produce amazing fucking results, but I would say the best aspect of it for a lot of people is it makes the sport of weightlifting less painful.
The
sport gets turned into such a grind due to certain dogmas around the training. It just doesn't need to be that way.
No, exactly. But that's the whole thing. And I think you being able to do as much of it as you want or don't want to will keep you in that zone of like keep you out of the mundane zone of we're doing this because you have to do it to get it there. Do you know what I mean? I think you even having the approach of we need to make this less of a grind or fun or however you want to word it. Like, I think that is the kind of mentality that you will be able to maintain while doing it if you keep it at the levels you want to do it. And like, that'll be fucking great.
We'll see.
Everyone will have such a good time.
See how it goes. Check back in 6 months. Oh, there'll be updates before then. Also, one other update. Let's announce this. Oh, yeah, fuck it. Oh, geez. Hopefully I deliver on this in the next week or so. Might be a little bit longer than that. Could also be out in the next 2 days. Anyway, I'll start G'ing everyone up about it now. We're making a standalone GPP program. And so, because obviously talking about our coaching offering and why this is such a good product, like why it's sick for me and sick for the customers. So obviously there's one-to-one coaching with either myself or Jacob. That's our premium coaching offering. That's quite expensive. And it's not everyone's necessarily looking for that. And then we have the GPP group program, which is incredibly accessible. It's dirt cheap. It's like, I think it's less than $1 a day. And you can even get a week of it for free. And there's like, you still get access to like me through the group chat for like form checks. And like, if you got questions and stuff like that, you get your programming updated weekly. But one of the things that has always been sort of like a weakness of it and has made it inaccessible is, well, I don't know. If you're like me, you could get thrown into that program and you'll just have a go at it. Like you're happy to just be shit at things for a couple of weeks and sort of like take your time to work it out. But the plyometric progressions are not super advanced, but like a little bit advanced. And it kind of does assume that you know how to do the Olympic lifts. And obviously that you're decent at strength training, but I think 90% of our audience are already like really across that stuff. And whereas like as much as we're a strength and conditioning brand, I think also general physical preparation, what we do as a brand is we've red pilled a lot of people about their training and that we're the ones getting them training more variously and we are that gateway drug for them. And we don't really have a program as much as we have the education course now for trainers. We don't have just a program that people could pay for like $100 or something like that. And just get a program so it's going to be 8 to 10 weeks. And the whole idea is you're learning the Olympic lifts. You're starting at the start of our plyometric progressions. And then by the end of that 10 weeks, like, yeah, sure, you will have developed some physical qualities, but it's actually like a real just competency and experience-based program. Like it's going to get you, who it's ideally for is that person, like I said, where they're just fed up with doing either pure strength training or pure bodybuilding training. They want to start training variously, but they just know fuck all about plyos or Olympic weightlifting or doing minimum effective dose strength training so they can actually fit in the other qualities or doing all the other sorts of, we've got some cool takes on, you know, some of the exercises we like for our accessories and like doing a bit of gymnastics based strength training as well. But then, yeah, also what it feels like as well, just doing a couple of months of concurrent training. So it's just going to be a program for that. And it won't just be a program. Like, obviously, it's going to have an exercise library attached to it, like video demos and everything. But it'll also have a little bit of like the theory on each quality explained and a little bit of the programming explained and stuff like that as well. So a little bit of education in there. But yeah, I think it's going to be really good. I think it's what a lot of people like want, but then also need think it's going to be really useful.
If you want to learn more about the general physical preparation training philosophy, we put together an extremely practical course covering all the different aspects of physical preparation, as well as a unit on programming, so you know how to tie it all together and produce the same world-class results that we get with our athletes. We've got pre-recorded lectures, a community page where you can ask questions and interact with the other GPP coaches, as well as monthly calls where you can ask questions live or just catch up and hang out with us. Check out the link in the show notes for more info. Anyway, back to the show.
But you may have just said that and explained it and I didn't really get it, but who would you...
I drank like at least probably like 6 to 8 beers today, so maybe it didn't make sense.
No, I also may have just tuned out at a crucial time, but who would you... So if someone's like, hey, I want to get into, the GPP thing, are you recommending this as like the entry point, or... Like, who is
Depends
this?
who you are. So, like, and this is the thing, because when people talk about your avatar, it's like, I'm aware of, like, we probably have like 3 to 4 avatar archetypes that form our customer base. There's like the people that are just taking care of their own training, and then there's the coaches. But then even within the coaches, there's the coaches who maybe don't trust us enough to invest in our... It's very moderately priced. As far as courses, but $350 Australian for GPP level 1 is still a bit of an investment. So it could still serve as, again, it is meant to be a program that's meant to be run, but it will explain and educate these coaches and then empower them to maybe start training these qualities with their clients and stuff like that. And then also figure out if they want to actually jump over and like invest in GPP level 1, because obviously that's ideally what people should be using if they want to do Olympic weightlifting and concurrent plyos and high speed running and all that sort of shit with their clients. You'll be exposed to and you'll learn some stuff about sprinting and high speed running in that GPP program as well.
Okay, so the GPP program, how much is that going to be, like ballpark?
$100 AUD.
Okay, and it's a one-off pay.
Yeah, and it's like 8 to 10 weeks worth of training, and is going to equip you with a whole bunch of skills that are like investments for life, like learning the Olympic lifts, learning decent plyometric progressions, learning some tips on sprinting and a couple of drills for that and stuff. It's just fucking tremendous, as well as an example with the actual program you're given, but some just tips on like, okay, like here's why we did things the way that we did, so that you can then try and implement these concepts if you want to.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what we'll also do. Genius business whiz Gus will probably stick a GPP level 1 discount in. So like anyone who buys the book will probably get like a discount off GPP level 1 for sort of like the prior investment.
Oh yeah, okay, sick. Yeah, that's fucking cool. That's real fucking cool.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind talking about surfing for a bit. All right. I don't know if anyone's interested in this, but there's some shit going on in the surfing world. Where do I want to start this? Fuck me. So because I rant about surfing S&C, and I feel like my audience enjoys it because like they know how passionate and wound up I get about it. So I feel like even my audience who doesn't surf, I feel like they are also pretty aware of surfing S&C being a fucking shit show. But also, if you keep up with my Instagram stories, you'll know that there's one surfer on tour that just trains like an absolute fucking Chad. He's a world champion, he's an Olympic champion, and he's the current world tour championship leader this year, Italo Ferreira. And he's always been like a pretty chunky guy, and he's always loved smashing tin. Like he's just always just been like bench pressing, doing his squats and stuff like that, smashing arms and shit. No functional bullshit. No, never standing on a Bosu ball or any nonsense like that. Just like trying to get jacked. Which again, like surfing S&C coaches typically hate. But again, he was just sort of doing that himself. And I don't even know if he was doing it for his surfing. I think he was just doing it for the love of the game. I think he just wanted to be sexy. But he's really stepped it up this year, and he's hired like this IFBB pro bodybuilder to train him. He's maxing out like banded leg press and like just taking things in a whole new level in that direction. And fuck me, like I've talked about, because I've done a lot of strength training, and I'm always like, nah, it didn't do anything for my surfing. I think it did. I was just trying to be unbiased, because Italo Ferreira, like this year, one of the commentators said it. So I've noticed it, and he's obviously surfing out of his skin. He's like, number one in the world. But one of the surfing commentators at this event was like, Other surfers just get up and you know, fucking whatever. But Italo stands up on his board and you hear like motorbike noises, like just meh, 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 meh. He's just like in your head, like just the way he surfs. It's so fast and powerful and explosive. I was actually ranting about this on the GPP Level 1 call because this is a misconception. And this is why I didn't know why I was so annoyed at most surfing S&C coaches, not only being shit S&C coaches, but also being kooks. And I was like, why is that such a problem for me? And it's because like when you're a kook and you're in your early days of just being a shit surfer, and when you don't understand surfing at all, this applies to everyone. I feel like there's this stereotype of how people conceptualize surfing. They're like, it's flowy. There's all these smooth transitions. To use musical language, it's very legato. Is that the right word for smooth playing?
Legato is like long held notes.
And like flowy. Yeah, I feel like people sort of think about surfing as that, but like high performance surfing is like aggressive. It's staccato. You need to fucking jam your rail into the face and try to tear a hole in it. Like that's how you displace water. Not by you flow between those bits, but the punctuation marks on high performance surfing are these insanely aggressive and powerful transitions and
yeah, okay.
And I feel like that's why the surfing S&C gets so cucked because they're like, oh yeah, stand on the Bosu ball, get you flowy. Like add in thoracic rotation to every fucking exercise we do will make it flow. It's like, no, that's not what they need. Like stiffen them up, give them some fucking ooze, you know, like that because that whole thing of when I had to go with some surfing S&C coaches and they're like, you can't train them like a rugby player. It'll make him stiff. I think my retort in my head was like, nah, you manage the dose and it won't make him stiff. But now I think I'm like, stiffen him the fuck up. It's not going to turn him into a full refrigerator. It's impossible if they're doing enough. Like, stiffen him up. I think it's good. Oh, yeah. So anyway, okay. Back to the current world tour. So fucking there's 3 events in Australia, it's like we're 5 events into the fucking season. Jack Robbo, he's our greatest hope. I mean, we've got Ethan Ewing and we've got a few rookie Australians on the tour, but we haven't had a world title in fucking over a decade, and I'm absolutely sick of it. So fucking Jack Robbo is our John Florence. He's our great Australian fucking hope. He trains with some wanker on the Gold Coast who's just got him doing thoracic rotations on just utter fucking nonsense. Anyway, I don't know if banded leg press would fucking make Jack Robinson a world number 1, but he finally won an event this year at Bells, and then he just goes and fucking bombs out in the first round of the next event, which is just fucking doing my head in. But anyway, like I said, I'm just pissed off because he trains with some cuck of an S&C coach. And like I said, I don't know if Australia's going to get a world champ this year. And like I said, my S&C biases want Italo to win anyway. So I guess I could just sort of ride with him this year. But in other positive news, Julian Wilson at 36. So he was on the world tour like ages ago, was a really promising junior talent, had a couple of good years on tour. But then when the industry collapsed, he kind of just fucked it off. He was like, made heaps of money back in the day. I don't need this shit. I'm going to start my own surf company. Well, his surf company's in a really good place and he's still surfing amazingly at 36. And he's just made a comeback to the tour. And it's sort of interesting because Julian Wilson, like, I reckon if I showed you a photo of 14 to 16-year-old Julian Wilson, Matt, you might recognize him because there was a photo of him on almost every single girl's school books all throughout primary school and high school. He was like the Quicksilver surfy boy fucking dreamboat with like the shell necklace and like the blonde hair and stuff. Whereas now he's like fully bald, got like the Kelly Slater fucking haircut. And it's like, Kelly Slater fell off the tour last year, and I'm like, this feels right to have like a just absolutely bald, shiny-headed Julian Wilson. Sorry, he's not back on tour. He actually just got gifted a wild card for the Australian leg of the tour, but he is competing on the circuit to get back onto the Pro Tour next year. And yeah, like I said, I'm just fucking G'd about it. So, and Julian Wilson is through to the next round. Sorry, wait, let me correct myself. Julian Wilson did not get a wild card to this event. He surfed in the trials for it and fucking beat everyone. So yeah.
Yeah, right.
Also had to eliminate Jack Robbo in his path, but if he makes the tour next year, I'll forgive him. And if he fucking here's why I'm invested in Julian Wilson's surfing, because same way Kelly Slater winning a Pipe Masters the day after his 50th birthday would like just showed me what's possible. Because in my head, I'm like, when am I going to get shitter at surfing? I try to take care of myself, but you know, am I really going to be throwing airs in my fucking 70s? Like, I'll try my best, but you know, it's going to start going downhill at some point. And Kelly sort of set this precedent of like, I know I'm not going to be surfing like Kelly at 50, but he's shown me the upper limit. But then with Julian again, I'm like, show me what's possible, Julian. Like, he's 4 or 5 years older than me. And it's like, if he can get a world title, I can do something, you know? I can do something more than what I thought I could in the surf. Like, that's what it'll do. Please, Julian, I need this. One other thing. So they are going back to the old format. So one of the reasons why the Surfing World Tour is being in an utter state is because the whole World Tour went broke. And the way I sort of explain it, do you know how Top Boy came back? You know how Drake, like Top Boy got canned or whatever by the networks. And then Drake was like, I like that show. Can you bring it back? I'll pay for it. Basically, some Middle Eastern guy did that with surfing. He was like, oh, wait, I liked that world too. I think he was just getting into surfing, just found out what it was. It was like, can we get that going again? And they're like, all right, like, you want to give us $1 billion? And he was like, yeah, right. But he was not very good at running it and made some very bad decisions. Like, I mean, it used to be called the Dream Tour. One, because they were all rich as fuck and getting paid heaps, but it was just really well organized to go to the best waves in the world at the right time of the year. But that is dictated by sponsorship dollars, and just where the sponsorship dollars are leading them. Like, if a fucking country is doing a tourism thing and they want to host a surfing event, they can kind of do it because all the surfing companies are broke that would host it at cool places where the local government isn't bidding as hard. But now they've sort of drawn a line in the sand and be like, so the last event of the year used to be Pipeline, which is just like, it's such an amphitheater stadium feeling of a wave. It's fucking epic. Pipeline is the wave that you draw in your school book when you're a kid fucking doodling around in class. You know, it actually is that fucking wave. And that used to decide so many world titles if someone hadn't already racked up enough points. And that was the thing. It was like the EPL. It was just who gets the most points from winning the most shit throughout the year. There wasn't like a grand final format, but that's what they've been doing with the shitty format. So shitter waves. And then there's a mid-season cut where they get rid of half of them. Everyone fucking cries. And then they get down to a final 5. And then they do like a head-to-head sort of thing at fucking Trestles, which is just like a small crumbly wave. It's just like, boo. Whereas now, no mid-season cut, all elimination rounds, because normally they start each contest now with like a soft rapid charge sort of thing. It was like fucking lame. So anyway, it's straight eliminations, no mid-season cut. It's just pure point system, no final 5 bullshit, just who wins the most all year. And the tour wraps up at Pipeline. I might actually go. Fuck, 2026, I'm going to watch the Pipe Masters. Oh, fuck.
Where did you say it was?
Pipeline, Hawaii, on Oahu. On the 7-mile miracle, they call it.
I haven't looked at the dates. Wait, when do you reckon it is, roughly?
We're probably looking, so because the tour usually wraps up, it'll probably be like November-ish. I don't know if the schedule's released. Oh, maybe it'll be closer to Christmas. Because sort of like, I mean, ideally it would be early December at the earliest, because like early season pipe can be a bit dodgy. If you want it to be like guarantee or more of a guarantee, it's never a guarantee because waves are fickle. You sort of do it, middle of December.
Yeah, right.
Because sand builds up on the reef sort of throughout the off season. I also recently decided this is another interesting story. I should tell everyone on the podcast. Tim Champion, friend of the show, stayed at my place for a couple of days and we just went surfing and smashed weights and it was great. But we were just watching a few videos of Pipeline and B Durbidge was retelling a story. We watched him fall on this wave as well, where like, because Pipeline, you know, you can surf it from sort of, it's got to be at least 6 foot for it to be a legit pipeline, like a real fucking 6 foot, like well overhead to that, but it can get up to like fucking, you know, 10, 15 foot But I've always sort of had like an idea in my head of the pipe days where I'm like, I'd go surf that. Because just a bit of context, Pipeline has got the highest body count of any wave in the world. And like, it just seems to be a lot of people have been like paralyzed and kill a lot of deaths. And it just feels like every season someone breaks their neck and gets paralyzed out there or gets a brain injury.
That is lovely.
But typically, again, it's on the 10-foot massive days. But then, yeah, B Durbridge was just out there on one of those days where in my head, I'm like, I reckon I'd take off on that wave. And he went down on a wave and it didn't look that bad, but it like exploded his pelvis. It tore his abdominal wall off his pelvis and he was in a wheelchair for 4 months. And like, he was like, I had to move everything into the downstairs of my house and it was fucked. And I was just like, man, like, I just am going to take that wave off the list. I'm just going to sit there like a cuck watching it. I thought I was that guy, but, and like, I think there's, whatever, I'm not that guy because you are what you do, you know? There's a bit of me that wants to go out there, but just, yeah, I just don't, you can have your shit pushed in by like any random wave, but you know, certain waves you are just entertaining it more. And one thing I always say about a wave is like, you don't have to entertain the worst consequences. Cause like I said, you could be looking at a 3-foot wave and the worst consequences is always death, but just, you know, entertain the worst probable consequences of any wave before you paddle out. And I just think entertaining the worst probable consequences of any fucking random day at Pipeline that's in my head is just not a good idea. I don't know. I don't know what's at the top of my list as far as heavy waves. I'm not that hardcore when it comes to like legit surfers, but
yeah,
I want to surf some sort of wave of consequence.
No, totally.
But yeah, it'd probably be not fucking pipe. I don't know.
The GPP group program is the best deal in strength and conditioning. For less than $1 a day, you get access to my programming as well as access to me through a group chat where you can reach out, ask questions, or have a form check. You can even get a week for free before you commit to it. Check out the show notes for more info.
JDM.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Yeah, he fights a week today.
Okay.
And I'm just having a look at the card now to see if there's anything else. Like, Jose Aldo's fighting on it.
Dude, I would be in such a more I need this position if Volk didn't have that sweet belt wrapped around his waist. Dude, I'm picturing Volk tucked up in his little bed on his big old farm up in the escarpment, just with his belt right now.
Okay, I had a thought today, right? And I haven't really dug into it to like...
Dude, I'm pretty sure Volk having the belt is why Dutton lost his seat in some indirect way. I just think the world works better when Volk has the belt.
Oh, it does. Definitely does. There's no two ways about it. But yeah, I had this thought today and I haven't researched.
Sorry, for international listeners, we had an election yesterday. We won't get into the results, but yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Anyway.
Some evil looking cunt with no eyebrows lost his seat and it's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny. Anyway, I had this thought and I haven't done the real digging to back up if I actually believe it or not, but I'm just going to let it fly. I think the welterweight division is kind of quickly becoming like the most exciting division in the UFC. And I say that, like, let me quantify that a little bit. I think I always get this wrong. What's the smallest one? Featherweight? Flyweight, right. That one to me has just never been that interesting. I think it's a bit of a shit show. Like, Pantoja's made it a bit better, but like...
No, your assessment is correct. It's never had a ridiculous top 10. I mean, it got gutted.
Yeah. I think the one above that, like, unless I've missed one, that's Volk's one, right?
No, bantamweight. And then it's Volk.
I knew I'd missed one. Okay, so bantamweight, like...
Bantamweight is fire.
Yeah, bantamweight's pretty fucking great, but like currently, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to go through them all. All I was going to kind of say was that like, I think you could sit there and go, well, lightweight's obviously fucking better. Fair enough, but like at this point, who's beating Islam? Like, yeah, I totally agree that like...
He's not long for lightweight though. I don't know if I used that phrase correctly. You know, he's going up.
Well, allegedly, I'll wait and see if that happens.
Fair play, okay.
More what I mean is like, I think if you said to me, I think the most interesting conversation at lightweight is who's the second best dude in the division. Like that to me is interesting. and exciting. Everyone's just going to lose to Islam.
No, you're right.
As I see it.
There's a good couple of fights you could argue to make for the top contender. And you know who I always forget about, and I've been reminded of recently. How do you say his first name? Joachim Buckley?
Dude, this is exactly what I'm
his,
fucking
wait,
talking
what
about.
the fuck is his first name? Wahid, that's it.
Joachim
Yeah.
Buckley.
Wahid Buckley. Yeah.
Because this is why
He's
I think
there. Yeah.
he's welterweight.
He's fighting Kamaru soon, isn't he?
Yes, he is. So
Yeah,
he beat Covington convincingly.
Yeah.
And he's fighting Kamaru possibly the week after JDM, or maybe a couple weeks after.
Yeah, I think that's soon. So that'll be pretty interesting to see where
But
Kamaru's at.
This is
Having said that,
exactly kind of what I'm talking about. In that,
who
like,
knows
I
what
think-
that Kamaru's like?
Yeah. Well, I think when you look at the champ, who could possibly take it off the champ, and how competitive the top 10 is, I think welterweight is possibly the most exciting division of the bunch. Because I just don't know. I'm not taking anything from Bilal, but like I think there's quite a lot of people that could take it off him, and I don't know who it's going to fucking be. You know what I mean? Like, I really back Joaquin Buckley. I think he's something else. And I think JDM's really fucking good.
JDM could go on a fucking run.
Like, and I was just looking at today, like the fact that like even Gilbert Burns is still kicking about.
No.
You know?
No.
He's
a quality fighter. You're right. He's a quality fighter.
What I'm saying is he's like fairly low on he's like near the 10th, I think. And like that's kind of what you're talking about. I don't think there's like a division with like a top 10 that stacked and a champion that close to getting dethroned, and I don't know who it's by. You know what I mean?
Dude, what if Bilal just decisions the whole house though?
He fucking good, but
He
like,
could.
I'm not that sure he's gonna.
I don't want to live in that world.
I'm pretty sure the other champs are like, I know who it's gonna be. You know what I mean? But yeah, I was just looking through the top 10 like the other day, and I was like, fuck me, it's like great. And I wouldn't say welterweight's been that way for a long time.
Dude, I don't know how Islam does it welterweight. It's tough
stacked.
out there.
It's
Just
fucking
because
stacked.
people say that he's a big lightweight. He doesn't look it to me. He doesn't look small, but like I don't know if he looks big standing next to any welter, which is what I'm picturing. I need to see him standing next to more welterweights. Yeah, I just don't really see it.
Yeah.
You know why? Because Volkanovski is just frame-wise not a big guy. He doesn't have the tiniest frame for a featherweight. Like, I know he's short, but he's like got a decent bone structure, like width-wise. But like, Islam doesn't look way bigger than Volk. And then we're getting up to welterweight, and I'm just like, just with how physical his style is, I know he's really technical. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I think
and I'm an Islam believer. Like, I think Islam does not get enough respect typically, but then all of a sudden my attitude does change quite a bit going to welterweight.
And I know what you mean. I think Islam would maybe surprise you though, in that I think he maybe is deceptively bigger than he appears.
And obviously can put on weight. Like, he's probably been on poverty calories for God knows how long.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But look, that's it. Like, who knows? Maybe when he does his welterweight appearance, he'll fucking.
But yeah, it's that.
I won't be sitting there with my jaw open if he dominates at welterweight. Be like, oh, how did this? But yeah, I'm curious to see how he passes the eye test even.
Yeah, big time.
We absolutely love doing this show, and one of the most exciting things for us is watching it grow, because it means we can commit more time to it, as well as have access to better guests to bring you even more quality content. One of the most impactful ways you can help us grow the show is by shouting it out, screenshotting this episode, and sharing it on your stories to let people know that you're listening. Don't underestimate how influential you can be on helping us grow this show, and we appreciate it so much.
Jose Aldo and Zahabi.
Oh, please, Jose, please get it done.
Do you reckon he will?
Iman's
12-2.
I know. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Love you, Jose.
Okay. Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot?
Oh, God. I feel like Shevchenko is aging out finally.
Okay,
Like,
so
if you asked me this a couple of years ago, I'd be like, fucking run through fear, right?
yeah, right.
I don't know anymore. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, wild. And
Honestly, don't know.
yeah, right. And not Shevchenko, sorry. Bilal.
Sorry,
versus,
what I'm hoping though is that Shevchenko sort of like finds it again and just head kicks it. No ill wishes, but like gets
yeah. Does it decisively.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And then Bilal versus JDM.
I think that JDM maybe has some fight IQ issues, which might get highlighted. I think he's so much better skill for skill. But yeah, one of the things where I think is a strength of Bilal's is the game planning and maximizing what he's got to win fights. And I reckon Bilal might just feel pretty comfortable in there. And in a slightly different way to DDP, Bilal is just someone who wins pretty consistently. And so if JDM doesn't put him out and Bilal has a fucking chin on him, but he can be put out. JDM can put out anyone at welterweight. And I think he should be able to, and I'm hoping he does. But yeah, I just worry if he can't put him out in the first sort of 3 rounds, does he find himself in a position where he's just like, oh, fuck, I actually got taken down despite dominating the striking in a couple of those rounds, and where am I actually at on the scorecards? And then all of a sudden Bilal's on the front foot in terms of just the points and banking rounds. I could just see that happening.
Yeah.
Have that bad. I think a lot of us have this bad feeling. I'm like, are we staring down the barrel of like a fucking much more boring version of the GSP run with Bilal? One thing I will say, I love that Palestine has a world champ. I mean, he's American Palestinian. Shout out to Palestine.
Absolutely.
Sucks ass. I think he's been walking out with his flag. They don't like showing the flag. Fucking. Anyway, that's no good, but.
Well, for what it's worth, Bilal's a heavy favorite.
And you know what? That's how I'll be stoked. What? A heavy favorite?
What? He's Bilal's $1.36. JDM's $3.10.
Yeah, right. Okay. Interesting.
Which I guess does that just come from the fact that Bilal's like a few defenses deep at this stage and JDM, is it just that?
I don't know. That'll make me feel less bad if he loses. And yeah, like I said, if Bilal wins, I will just be thinking about maybe how that's inspiring for Palestinians, and that's how I'll feel good about it.
Yeah. I thought here though, right, and this might be completely off base. You know how DDP got his nose fixed and then he was like a whole lot better?
I think he was good the whole time, man.
Okay, look at JDM's nose.
As in, sorry, I didn't see it either. I can't say that I was like yeah. You think he needs his air intake adjusted? I
don't think I've ever seen a more like bent nose in my fucking life. Like, he's obviously just had it broken to fuck and it's set that way. But that's like, there's no way they was getting up there clean. Like,
he is like in my top 5 facial features. Like, number 1 will always be Nathan Cleary's chin, but JDM's nose is like a fucking Aussie national treasure as far as like facial characteristics. The way it's just been wiped across his face like a booger. Like,
it's fucking crazy.
It's like it's fully fucking sideways. It's so funny.
I also get like, obviously it
suits his personality too much as well.
Oh no, I reckon it's sick. Like, if you're gonna fight that guy and you're looking at him, you must be like, that's.
I have a deep desire to watch him do a line, because like his head would definitely be at an angle you've never seen before.
And I also totally get why he's not fixed it, because
he'd be able to maintain eye contact with you. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, I don't know. I hope he does it. I think he can get it done. I'm backing him.
Yeah, come on, please, dude. 2 Aussie champs. That's fucking mad.
That is mad. But yeah,
two absolute legends as well. Like
I'm calling it most exciting division in the UFC. Oh, so I had another thought today, right?
full of fucking thoughts.
Yeah. First of all, how old is Kamaru Usman?
Let me guess, and then you check. I bet he's 36.
Oh, you're so close. He's 37.
Damn it, that was the other one I was going to go for.
He will be 38 a week today.
Oh, so he's going to be stepping in the cage as a 38-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that week is going to be rough.
I wonder, you know how Volk became, was the first person ever to win a belt?
You reckon Kamaru is going to do it?
No. What I'm saying is, was he the first person to win a belt back or the first person to win a belt after the age of 35?
Definitely the oldest to win a belt back under welterweight. So what the statistic is that everyone was quoting going into it is the only person who'd won a title fight under 170 over the age of 35 was Tyron Woodley. Defended his belt against Darren Till. He'd turned 35 for that fight, but then lost it in the next one. Every other title fight with a 35-year-old in it has lost. There might be one other that I'm forgetting, but yeah.
Wait. A title, like fight for a title or defending a title?
Either.
Oh, sorry, under a certain weight you said, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so obviously like light heavyweight, like Glover Teixeira had the belt at like fucking 42 and
I was going to say,
I think DC was in his 40s.
Like not long ago.
Yeah, exactly. So so heavyweight, light heavyweight, middleweight, it's all happened.
Has it happened? Okay, because I was just wondering if we're gonna, in the same way as like, quite often in these things, someone does it and then it just becomes more common. Like once it's done once.
Oh, like a 4-minute mark. Sorry, you know what's changed as well? I reckon that stat's going to get melted away. I mean, maybe not that quick because we've still got to just wait for the right people to rise up the ranks and get the belt. But the UFC stopped drug testing as hard. Like I was thinking about the timing of that. I'm like, yeah, it's just so sweet for Volk. Everyone's under the same rules. But yeah, I wonder if he's ripping and tearing.
Yeah,
I love it for him.
So. I guess so.
Maybe who knows? Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of looking at that division, and like I said before, I think like ranked 10 is Jeff Neal, 9's Colby Covington, 8's Gilbert Burns, 7's Joaquin Buckley, 6 is Ian Gary, which I think is a bit interesting anyway. 5's JDM, 4 is Kamaru Usman, 3 is Leon Edwards, 2 is Shavkat, and 1 is Sean Brady. And like, I don't know, man. Tell me most dudes in that top 10 end up with the title. I'm not shocked. Within reason. Actually, I take that back. But
Jeff Neal is not winning a title at welterweight.
Yeah, no, I guess the point I was more making was that like I just wouldn't be shocked to see quite a lot of them. The top 5 anyway would not be shocked at all. And I think that just hypothetically, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but hypothetically, I think Bilal is a more what's the word? I think it's a more favorable matchup for someone like Usman. You know what I mean? Like,
my mental MMA simulator is breaking down at this late hour. I'm trying to run it.
I guess but this is the whole thing about Bilal is that like I think I will just never think he's gonna win. Do you know what I mean? I think I would just constantly be like, nah, I don't fancy it. And yeah, and at some point I have to get proven wrong and go, okay, he's probably just gonna keep winning. But that's what I mean. I think in my head, maybe that's part of it. I just look at that top 5 and I'm like, any of them could take the belt. But I just don't rate Bilal enough. But we'll see. I think it's a real interesting time for the division.
Dude, if you went back a couple of years and you're like, hey, Angus, DDP and Bilal are both champ, I'm just like, get fucked.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's the best sport in the world.
It's fucking wild.
Like, even when you're like, no, not that guy, it's still just like, wow, this is still entertaining in its own beautiful way. Human cockfighting. It's the best.
Yeah. It's just the closest. It's just, I don't know. It's like actual fighting meets WWE, and I don't know. There's something about that. Like the bit of me that the 10-year-old in me that really enjoyed WWE and the ridiculousness of that, like, just fucking loves that this is happening in real life. You know?
It's just good because it's like there's so many situations where people are talking shit to each other, and you're like, if one of them just head kicked the other person, and that fully happens in MMA.
Yeah. No,
And sometimes it's like sometimes the person that says the meanest thing is also the person who wins the fight. Like, goes both ways. Like,
yeah.
DDP is the king of that. Be like, I'm going to say something mean, and then I'm going to win the fight. And he's just, honestly, DDP on the mic, it's been one of the biggest treats of the last couple of years of UFC. And the fights are fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, but ain't it funny though? Because I think so much of the UFC's success has been built off Dana being a frustrated fight fan for years and basically looking at something like boxing and being like, what have the fans been screaming out for fucking ever? And it's nothing crazy. He's just gone like, the best fight the best.
This is the first year though where they've just lost that. Someone, an MMA podcast brought it up this week, and just the Jones thing,
The
and
Jones
like,
Aspinall thing. Yeah,
just
100%,
with that
100%.
and a couple of other fights, and also with boxing going through its best ever run of not having that problem because the Big Turk. I shouldn't say Big Turk because people think I'm talking about a Turkish man, Turkey Al Sheikh, the sports washing boxing guy. Like he has just got out the wallet and been like, guys, like what is the number you need? And at the same time, now we're running into this issue for the first time in the UFC. It's just fucking annoying. But
it is annoying. And if
we have to go to bed. This has already been a value packed episode.
No, all I was gonna say was
you have to edit this thing.
If it's not an injury, and if Jones genuinely doesn't fight Aspinall because he's just like no, then you're right. Then this is exactly the thing that Dana has been bragging about, them having overboxing for so long.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. I'm not sure. Take it one day at a time. Everyone, join my weightlifting club, please.
Hell yeah,
dude! We got some crazy guests. We had a crazy guest lined up for this week, but we probably didn't give them enough notice, and they forgot it was happening. But we have some fucking guests that you've untold crazy guests. All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Laters.